Hey guys, welcome to the Heat Press for Profit Lounge, and this is just an awesome space at Printing United where we're going to get to talk about some ideas and be connected, learn and inspire all about apparel decorating. So each day here is going to feature different conversations on some different topics that are going to help apparel decorators grow their business. That's the number one thing that we're doing here, and the number one thing that we want to help with is you achieve your goals. So if we have time at the end of our session here today, we're going to have some Q&A and try to answer some questions for you if you have them. If not, we have tons of questions that we're going to be covering the entire time here. I am your host, Dave Connor from STAHLS Transfer Express, and our topic today is D-T-Whaaaat? How and why direct-to-film is transforming the apparel decorating industry. It's really cool. It's unplanned that there's a direct-to-film printer literally right there. But I am more excited. Direct-to-film's exciting, but I am more excited to introduce and welcome Russ Corey here from SanMar to sit down, chat, and share some experiences with us. So first up, Russ, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on. If you want to introduce yourself, let us know about SanMar and yourself, how long you've been in the industry.
Great. Well, thanks, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Russ Corey. I just completed 3 years at SanMar. I work in the decorator relations team. I work with all of our decorators across the nation, helping with just new techniques, what's going on in the industry, as well as advising new products and decorating procedures for those. Prior to that, I spent 22 years in the industry working for STAHLS itself. Shameless plug there, Sam. Sorry. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. So,
for those unfamiliar with SanMar, could you talk a little bit about what SanMar does, what SanMar specializes in?
Absolutely. So SanMar is one of the nation's largest distributors of blank goods for decoration. Not only is SanMar a distributor, but they do manufacture some of their own brands. So inventory is what they're really known for, a nice depth of selection, and a great resource. With eight warehouses across the country, you can usually get your product in a day or two.
I do love that Cincinnati warehouse.
Me too.
For us in Ohio, absolutely fantastic. And I got to say, if you guys are unfamiliar with the Port & Company line, as well as District, two of my absolute faves in terms of cost and just the versatility of the product. And yeah, they're just premium. They're premium garments. Yep. For a not so premium price. But we're not talking about garments. Well, we're going to be talking about garments today, of course. But we are going to be talking about direct-to-film today and how it is just absolutely exploded. So why do you think that direct-to-film has just exploded in the apparel industry in the past year and a half?
Right. So digital printing has been around for, 10 years or so, effectively. And there's always been a need for full-color printing, low cost and low volume, and DTF fits all of that. Where in prior instances of wide format printing and things like that, the cost was a little bit higher, and there was limitations as far as the film product itself that it was printed on. So DTF really kind of fills that niche, gives you, and also with the advance of the TPU adhesive, you can go on multiple layers, or not layers, but multiple products. So lights, darks, nylon, spandex, things that are troublesome for DTG. So definitely fills a need and a niche.
I'm glad you mentioned all of those different fabrics, and because that really is something that I work with a lot of people just getting in the industry, and it seemed like, a couple years ago, sublimation was that keyword. We're is this sublimation? What's sublimation? What could sublimation print on cotton? And for a lot of those, no, you couldn't. You were limited to polyester, and the same way that 12 years ago when direct-to-garment became commercially viable, where it was, you are limited to cotton and specific blanks with pre-treat. And so there was that, it was difficult to get into for a beginner, whereas I think direct-to-film is so accessible when you're talking about different materials, different fabrics, and even the promo products and stuff. So as I bring up promo products, is there a place where you see direct-to-film being used more often than others? Obviously in those high color count, low quantity images, but...
Well, there's a couple different places that direct-to-film is really being used. One of them is the difficult to print items, right? Anything that you can't do in full color and get into a direct-to-garment machine is a great starting point, right? I can't put a backpack in that machine, or I can't put it on a strap. It's polyester or anything like that. When you go back to sublimation, yeah, you were limited to a particular material. So now you're free of not only just that particular material, but you can go on lights and darks. You don't have to worry about a pre-treat or any type of certain coating on it. You're also, with the ability of a DTF machine, you're printing off of a roll. So you can go beyond the capability of what a printer can offer by going vertically up the roll. So now you can do larger prints, bigger designs, murals, things like that, and it really opens the door for who knows what's next.
It does. I'm glad you talked about those unique products. I saw just a couple weeks ago, Josh Ellsworth from STAHLS was decorating like sandals, like shower shoes that were like a rubbery texture, and like they worked. They adhered to it, like, and it looked fantastic. In our office, if you follow Transfer Express, we're going to be releasing some stuff next week about like slippers that you're not getting in a direct-to-garment press, you're not getting on a screen printing press. Like, they are so specialty to be able to decorate them and have the ability, not just one color, because the one color is nice and opaque. I mean, in the early days of direct-to-garment, if you were doing just a white one color, it didn't look fully opaque.
Right.
And so you're getting a lot on that. So are there any specific customer examples of like those unique products or unique placements that you could share?
Oh, well, I mean, in the promotional product space, you're getting a lot of that, right? It can be anything from, can you put it on an umbrella, right? Can I do it on a collar? Can I put it on a strap of a backpack, or over a pocket, over a seam of a ball cap? These are things that are generally problematic in other instances. So, yeah, I mean, there's lots of trends that way. DTF is really, what do you want to print on the things that you don't want to print on?
I think that's a good way to put it, because it is offering a solution to a problem that's been around for a long time, and a lot of decorators were just saying no. Right. Or turning jobs away, like, oh, you need 2 pieces of a 6-color graphic, it's $60 or no, or $100, or like, what is it worth my time, or just turning the customer away. And so having that ability to allow almost anybody with a heat press to say yes to these jobs that otherwise were impossible or would have taken 6, 7, 8 screens and a specialty screen printing setup on a manual press, a lot of registration, or a low quality full color iron-on transfer almost. I'm really happy. You are setting up every single follow-up question for me. I'm really glad you mentioned promo products, because from SanMar, with the advent and this rise of DTF, have you seen an increase in selling promo products? Because you guys can't, like, those brand new, I think they're the Portland company, like the little bags, the hip packs or fanny packs, belt bags, whatever they call them. Whatever the kids are calling them these days.
They're crossbody bags now. We don't call them hip packs anymore. It's crossbody, much more trendy. Yeah, lots of that. But where we're really seeing it take off is on the small orders, the on-demand fulfillment, online orders. You know, over the last couple of years, online has been the way to go. People are ordering things and staying at home. So this is really where we've seen it take off, in as far as more accelerated than the promo market. Now the promo market is certainly accelerating that as well, but we definitely got to jump thanks to the pandemic.
Yeah, in the pandemic, and I guess like even more and more, I guess like direct to garment really didn't aid in any promo products, because they were hard to put on press, and they weren't the materials, the nylons, the polyesters, that necessarily didn't work the best with the direct to garment inks. So with that in mind, how do you see a defined shift of direct to film taking some of this direct to garment work? Or is it still kind of hand in hand, like how I think when direct to garment first came out, like everybody was so shocked by the technology and worried about screen printing. Like, it's coming for screen printing, and then it never really did. It fit that purpose, and for certain decorators, I think it fit that purpose. So do you see like this diagram rising where they're going to cross paths at some point?
Well, I see it kind of working hand in hand, right? To be fair, DTG is making some decent advancements now. Ink technology is changing, a little bit of better washability. So in that regard, they still have the same fixed cost per print. Again, DTF has the same, but it's a little bit more cost effective. So when you talk about DTF being more cost effective, able to go on more materials, stretch, and just different aspects of, I don't need to limit it to what I can put underneath that printer. It's now what can I get underneath my heat press.
Yeah.
With like Hotronics using all kinds of interchangeable platens and coming out with specialty platens for needs like the slippers and ball caps and shoes.
Hats.
Yeah. So STAHLS is always ahead of the game on that. So there's always a way to kind of pair it and grow that aspect of DTF.
Yeah. And those advancements really in direct-to-garment too. Like this show is really eye-opening. If you guys haven't been over to the Corneat booth, what they're doing and pushing the technology further, it's like they listen to all of these pain points, and obviously they have to be innovative because direct-to-film innovated, kind of skyrocketed past the capabilities of what their machines were for I don't even want to say fraction of a cost of what a direct-to-garment, like it is one hair of what one of those costs, even to get in with your own printing setup, let alone the custom decorating that you could do and just ordering custom transfers. So seeing that they are building in this, you could produce it faster, because that was always something like the machines had a certain time that they had to run, whereas direct-to-film applying at 290 degrees, I mean, as low as 15 seconds, and so it's on, it's off, and even being able to adjust that for, when you're testing to print on those weird slippers and things too. So do you think that this technology, especially just when we talk about cost, the accessibility of it from, say, if somebody's just getting into the industry or looking to start like an at-home business, have you seen a rise, especially from you guys? Like, because I always look at apparel suppliers, and especially someone like SanMar, like you are almost the heart and lungs of the industry, because regardless of how you're decorating it, if you're not getting apparel at a cost that you could make profit off of and resell, you aren't going to be in business.
Right.
Like we're in the profit game. So have you seen a rise in these home-based businesses who are leveraging heat print technology that's helping them?
Oh, without a doubt. So when it comes to somebody starting a business, we get a lot of questions, what should I do or how should I start? Well, heat press is the easiest way to get into the business. Well, now if you want to talk about the latest budding technology at DTF, buying it as a service is the easiest way to do it. You can get in for no investment other than the transfers that you need. You can learn the product, learn the nuances, sell your product, build your customer base, and then as the technology emerges, then you can decide which machine you want to get into. If you want to do that, you may develop a perfectly good business model using a resource like Transfer Express and not even going anywhere else.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I always, when I'm talking to those new people kind of coming into the industry and decorators, you want to reduce your risk. So that truly is something when we're talking about, investing or looking what's going to make difference in your business, that like being able to order these transfers custom on demand makes it much more accessible, makes it much more profitable than digging yourself in a hole on a $20,000 printer right out of the gate.
Right.
I worry too, especially with direct-to-film. Like it is new for even us at Transfer Express at STAHLS. Like we have went through a considerable learning curve over the past almost 2 years that we've been offering the product or developing the product, or however you want to say that we've been working on these machines. But seeing that the maintenance and downtime and the reliability that a lot of the direct-to-film printers that are on this show floor are no more than, the companies aren't 18 months old that are selling these.
Right.
So if you're looking at something that's not even, some of these could even be 6 months or younger, and when you're looking at those machines, you're going to make a 2-year investment to pay that off if it's $20,000, and you're unsure if you have the work to get it. You just want to be ahead of the technology, and for that, I'm always with forward thinkers. But when you have that liability over your head, you have that amount of financial investment into it, that if the supply chain runs out, if the inks are not available, if the carrier is not available, if you have banding in the prints, if you're swapping out print heads, you are getting, we've seen it too firsthand, that there's a lot of counterfeit parts because a lot of things are coming from overseas. We know as apparel decorators, the supply chain is a little constricted. So when you are stuck in that position with an investment that you can't use, where you reduce all of that risk by buying them on demand, and that really is empowering, I guess, those home businesses to decorate more, to do more, to, even expand their product line, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. With a commitment like that, now you're obligated to producing X amount every week to make that payment.
Yeah.
This way, If I only have a job to do, I order my transfers, and I can wait. I can go back and do whatever else I'm doing and come back 2 weeks later and start my business again. So absolutely, easiest way to do it.
Now, when we talk about, home-based businesses, we talk about, accessibility and reduced risk. And one thing that's really came up with reduced risk, and we saw with direct-to-garment really made it possible, is printing on demand.
Yep.
So have you seen this kind of impact on the print on demand industry with direct to film, or is it still kind of direct to garment based?
So the ones that are really established and have a strong customer base, we're definitely seeing a big shift where customers are even converting their DTG machines into these makeshift DTF machines. So they're actually printing transfers so that they can use them outside of the traditional T-shirt model or print that way. Mm-hmm. We have lots of people that have started with being the trendsetter, buying one of these early adopted machines, and then saying, well, I need 3 more to match the speed or the demand of my current customer base. So yes, established print-on-demand people are seeing increased demand and push for that product right away.
Yeah, because that's one thing with any, heat-applied technology. You do have that power to offer a low-cost, low-setup print-on-demand. And when you talk about, really all you need is a heat press, we have that craft press sitting right there that's just over $300 that, you could essentially start a business with that, order on demand when you need it, produce on demand when you need it, of course, stock apparel, or with single-day turn times, you could almost order on demand. Of course, I like to loop it all together and get that free shipping.
Yeah, of course.
Or at least consolidate that shipping cost, because then that's more profit in your pocket. But I've walked a few people through a kind of on-demand setup, and you could do it from almost anything from the regular T-shirts, yep, all the way up to the promo wear. Even I just put direct-to-film on wood last week. So even decorative or gifts or personalized. You see a lot of the stuff. I know laser etching is huge, but the I see the ads on Facebook all the time. But it's a heart, and you give it as an anniversary present, where we met, where it's a little roadmap of where we met or something. I did something very similar with direct to film, on a roll, ordered on demand, completely customizable because there is no setup. It's just the same as direct to garment, but it's very quick to get that through. So it's super versatile, and I think it just seems like that the way that, you were around when direct to garment pretty much made print on demand available.
Absolutely, yeah. As much as I hate to admit I've been around that long, but yeah. That was over a decade ago, right when it kind of first hit. And I would say that again, when DTG first came out, those early machines, most of them didn't survive. They were beat by the second generation machines from existing companies, mm-hmm, or like now, the DTG machines that are out there, the big money companies are invested, right? Brother, Epson, Kornit, Ricoh, these guys all make high-end machines now. So it's a vastly different game than what DTG was 15, 20 years ago.
Yep.
So I would imagine the same thing will happen with DTF. And again, if I'm not an early adopter and I don't have a shop that's technical enough to keep up with those demands of an experimental machine or an early machine, then I'd rather trust somebody to supply me a transfer and then wait for a big machine to come out so that I've got service and support on the back end.
Definitely. We've already seen that first generation kind of come and go, right, even with direct to film. I would say, would we be in second generation now or even third generation of direct to film in such a short amount of time? So that is, other than the financial risk, that is the risk that you're taking trying to be an early adopter, that maybe you're going to get into this pickle where, you get kind of, stuck. But you also talked about some other companies that were driving the advancement with direct to garment. Who do you see as the main driving force now with direct to film technology?
My personal favorite, I think, right now is probably Brother leading the way with some innovation. My background is more mechanical. I like what they do on the back end as far as ink recirculation, things like that. Makes the machine longevity a little bit better, and then their production side, with it being scalable, again, similar to DTF. If I've got one Brother machine running, I can easily build a pod around one dryer and go. DTF, same thing. I can just add another line in and go, and just keep increasing my volume as I grow.
Well, and that's very similar to, I feel like, Brother and maybe Epson too, but specifically Brother brought direct to garment to like the smaller business.
Yes.
Where at the rise, if you were trying to get commercial quality, it was Kornit all the way.
Right.
I mean, this is 10 years ago, but as it moves now, like Brother is definitely getting that lower price offering in there when you're talking about actually building out printers and
Right.
But again, supply chain issues, all that. It is the I mean, it's the engineering of it. It's the technology as it comes, and kind of rolls with it. And as we talk about like that lower level decoration, especially digital printing, how do you see direct to film impacting? I mean, we talked about direct to garment a little bit. White toner printers. Is this the end of white toner?
Not to smash an industry, but I think so. I mean, DTF, I mean, with the washability, it far surpasses what's out there in white toner. So in that regard, I just think it's going to be a natural transgression. You're just going to move right to it. And just that's the way it's going to be, right? And most people will do it without even knowing. They're going to order a transfer from a supplier, and they may have provided a white toner printer or a print in the past, but they'll have moved to DTF, improve their quality, and not even said anything.
Yeah.
So the end customer probably won't even see the difference other than a lasting improvement in quality.
Quality, application, and especially those like doing the white toner transfers at home, the process is almost completely automated with a direct to film.
Yeah, and well, I mean, when you're talking at home too, there's a little bit of inconsistency there too. So that doesn't play in the favor of the white toner printer.
Yeah, and definitely, and that's one thing with like any producing at home or in a small business, you have to really start thinking about, ventilation. And regardless of how you're producing anything, but dryers, of course, have terrible fumes. If you're screen printing in a small workshop, you want to make sure it's vented. And the same with producing direct-to-film. That I know that there's that nice haze in a direct-to-film room that just kind of hangs around, of course, because of the humidity too and the climate control that you require for that technology. And so I guess like that adds that extra step. Because we saw that with direct-to-garment then, too, when smaller shops, even larger shops, were adapting to that technology.
Right. Well, and that's kind of the thing, right? Everybody's got to set up their own profiles, what we used to call them, for DTG, based on where you were, based on your humidity, based on your shop environment. DTF still has that a little bit, too, but, again, going to a service, buying the transfers already done, you're kind of taking a lot of that out.
It does make it easy. So from a SanMar perspective, you guys do have several lines that are for direct-to-garment.
Yes.
So the pre-treat, and that definitely is reducing a huge step because that was always seen as like a huge pain point for, any shop really to adapt over, especially if you weren't investing in the pre-treat solutions that like Kornit offered, where it's all in one encompassing.
Right.
You're having a separate pre-treat unit. You're having to buy the chemicals, find the ones that work the best. Where SanMar kind of developed that line. So do you see direct to film as it takes a little bit of that market share? Is that kind of eating into that direct to film or direct to garment specific pre-treat line?
Well, what you're gaining with a pre-treat shirt on the DTG side is a gaining in time, right? You're not spending the time to pre-treat or the cost of pre-treat. You'll see on the floor here, a lot of the DTG machines that are out there now are big ovals and high volume machines. These are the people that are really going to take advantage of a pre-treated garment because they're eliminating that step. On a smaller run side, it's going to be kind of a business decision. Do I want to spend my time in the pre-treat? Do I not? The advantage of the pre-treated garments is they're pre-treated at the fabric level. So if you want to do an inside neck label, I don't have to worry about pre-treating in there. It's already done. If I want to do a sleeve, it's there. I don't have to worry about imprint boxes on lighter garments or anything like that. So there's definitely certain advantages. It probably will kind of take a little bit from it, but I think there's still room for growth on there, so it may be just kind of a little bit of a give and take. So, and
it definitely boils down to, I think, the level of solution, because the level of the business and the solution that fits them best. Because a lot of people who have one of the shops that I previously have worked for, like, was print on demand with a ton of Kornits, and seeing how they kind of almost doubled down on new technology in that space because it was familiar. It made sense for them and their business goals. It wasn't uprooting their entire system, their entire, from development on the software side all the way to retraining employees in fulfillment, where that's going to be there in a familiar technology, especially as those brands like Kornit that we talked about, like pushing direct-to-garment in there. But now with direct-to-film, I know that they've experienced direct-to-film and are looking for those solutions. How do you think direct-to-film fits in for traditional screen printing shops?
It's a great compliment. It's the things that you don't want to print. Again, fixed costs, right? So if I've got an order for, let's say, 20 pieces and my shop normally turns those down, DTF can be an easy answer. All I need is my heat press, off I go. And maybe that for each individual shop, maybe it raises it to 200 pieces or 50 pieces, but it frees up all that extra time of burning those extra screens, clean up all the labor that's there. Now you're still doing that job, or on a whole different side, this time of year, how about rush orders? You want a full color rush order or a fill-in, somebody needs 5 more, that's the way to go.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, because you could fit, it's so versatile in that way. Even customization, being able to supply customization, or if it's like, I just want this photo printed on a shirt.
Or variable data. I want this photo on this shirt, and next on same shirt, a different photo. Yep. Or a different name.
It offers those solutions, I think, farther than even where heat transfers typically fit in there. Because like a lot of it was, double lined, or those mesh shorts. I'm not putting on press. It's going to move around. Right. And so you get a one color hit with a screen printing press, and that's it. Other than that, you are completely limited out of the ball game, where this really helps bring that to life. And a lot of that was polyester, so that wasn't even working with direct-to-garment. So in your mind, what does the future hold here for direct-to-film?
Well, DTF, let's see. It's so new. There's probably something new on this floor right now that I haven't seen. So tomorrow, there'll probably be something even newer. So who knows where it's going to go, right? The potential's probably limitless at this point. You guys have used TPU powder adhesive for years and years and years. Maybe it's a different formulation of powder, and now you're going on different substrates, and it's a whole different market.
And that's something that our research and development department is actively working on. I know that just recently we fully approved 50-plus wash-dry cycles for spandex. So being able to print on spandex, a low heat temperature application and low quantities, and the stretch of the direct-to-film is 10 times of what the image is, and it snaps back to where it is. There's no wrinkling, there's no tearing, there's no cracking. It is so incredibly flexible. I would love to see, personally, because when we're talking about polyesters and those harder to decorate items, I would love to see, and I think our team's working on it. I'm going to catch up with our research and development guy, Mike, who's going to be showing up here in just a couple hours. I tried to get him here to talk about it and spill the beans, but I think that was part of the plan, was like, I'm not spilling the beans here, Dave. But I would love to see the dye blocking. If the dye blocking agent could be used as either an additional ink that could be printed with it, or even the adhesive on the back, where that could start blocking dye for you, so you don't have to worry about the dye migration. Because that's something I've seen on, now it was granted neoprene, so a black neoprene, so it migrates quite often. But seeing that, I think too, looking at specialty inks. Would specialty inks be something that you think would make it even more? If you're talking about like screen printing, where it's like, we could achieve neons, we could achieve glitters, or metallics. Would that be something that you could see eventually come into direct film?
Of course. You could see anything going that way. One of the things that I kind of see, and this is just from my own little experience and where I went a few years ago, expanded color gamut, using reds and greens for deeper colors, and able to hit those. I got to hit the Coca-Cola red, or a Texas orange, which is kind of at the end of the gamut for the CMYK stuff. So could we easily get there? Sure.
CMYK plus, yeah.
Right.
Even like the spot colors,
right.
that the color correct spot colors that came out, like when if we're talking about digital printing, like when HP on the Indigo series, like being able to offer those incredibly accurate colors. I mean, either color builds on any offset press, even with a digital blanket, it's going to be fantastic anyway. But
Right.
seeing that color quality come to digital apparel printing would be incredibly powerful too.
Yeah, and I mean, there's very few people that are printing with expanded color gamut now. So, I mean, that's an easy add and probably a quickest one to get into this market. But again, who knows, man? There might be glow in the dark stuff here tomorrow.
Yeah, hey,
So,
yeah.
you never
Glow
know.
in the dark, or even like dimensional printing with like a puff
There you
or
go.
something like that to be in development. We're not giving you guys over their ideas, are we? All right.
They're jotting notes.
All right, this is all the stuff that you want to see. I also think you kind of touched on it a little bit when we were talking about where direct-to-garment went. And I think one main thing, especially for suppliers, even for us, is going to be speed of applying or speed of printing themselves. So if you're talking about taking that 6-head machine or something, turn it into a 12-head, like where you could make these larger, wide format passes, like I don't know whose booth it was over there, but like the flatbed UV printers that are like printing a foot swatch at a time,
Right.
like where you could bring that and seriously speed up the actual, application or the actual printing of them on the carrier itself.
Yeah, I was something like that. It's cost-wise, right?
Yeah.
Now you're talking Cornette level DTF, right? So,
But at what point does I guess like that eclipse itself when the technology catches up to it? There's the demand there for it, and it's able to be at a price point that's palatable for the majority of small businesses, medium businesses. Because even like a large size business investing in a setup like that is a major financial investment.
oh, without a doubt. Yeah, and again, it can change tomorrow. So that's the risk you run, right?
Yeah.
If that's your entire nest egg, I'm leaning away from that.
Yeah.
I'd rather save that money and invest it in my business on something that I can use and make money on over and over and over again before that technology changes. So,
Absolutely. Now, speaking about advances in technology, and if we're talking about heat printing, are there any adjustments that apparel suppliers have had to make for that?
No, not so much as far as apparel.
Other than just stock, keeping things in stock.
Supply chain, yeah. Fortunately, we're doing so much better on that now. So,
Wonderful.
no,
Round of applause for SanMar.
Not just us, it's everybody. But as far as we haven't really had to make adjustments because all of our products were designed to be decorated. But it does give them freedom to do those challenging placements, right? Again, going over a seam or over a pocket, or maybe there's a thicker zipper that you were trying to get closer to, anything like that. Yeah, this really offers a whole lot of opportunity.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Russ.